I increased my show rate from 31% to 89% in 7 days. And I literally tripled my monthly revenue from 5K a month to 15K a month without making a single extra cold call or sending a single extra email. And so in this video, I'm gonna show you how to do the exact same thing, and you can literally implement this into your business today and see an increase in your show rate tomorrow. And if you don't know me already, my name is Cole Christopherson. I'm the founder of the Upper Echelon, where we literally help people improve their sales systems. And so what we do is we implement the same exact systems that allowed my agency to go to 50K a month in profit.
So before we jump into the actual process, I kind of want to show you guys how important show rate actually is. Let's say we're running like a normal book call funnel, like a VSL funnel or anything that you're doing in the agency space. 50 calls booked, 31% show rate, so around 1 in 3 show up, which is not great, but it's somewhat normal. That's around 15 shown calls. 10% close rate out of those 15 shown calls would be around 1.5 closes. And let's say you're selling at a 2K ticket, so $2,000 upfront or retainer. We're collecting around 3.5K, right? And so that's 50 calls, 31% show rate. Now, let's say we have the same thing, 50 calls in a book a call funnel, and we have an 89% show rate. For ease of numbers, let's just say it 3x's. That would be a 3x in show rate. So instead of 15 shown calls, it's 45, right? Out of those 45 shown calls, let's say our close rate stays exactly the same, 10%. We're closing 4.5 prospects. At the same 2K ticket would be around 10K. Now, those aren't exact numbers, but it's rounded, and you guys should understand that show rate is the easiest way to 2 to 3x your business instantly, right? It's not with ads where you launch and you don't know if your ads are gonna scale, right? It's not like cold calling where you double and you don't know if the lead quality is going to be the same. It's not with closing where it takes 2 months to be able to be just as good. Show rate is the easiest, but more importantly, the fastest way to 2 to 3x your business. If you increase your show rate by 3x today, tomorrow your business will 3x, right? And so the high level overview, which we'll get into later, of like very tactical of what the sales process we run like our clients through actually looks like, is the lead comes in, they book a call, and then they get these confirmation texts via cell. We have the call, bam fam. So what bam fam just means is book a meeting from a meeting, which is basically schedule a follow-up. So this is a high level overview of kind of what the process actually looks like. And I'll kind of dive deep into what specifically we do. And so there's basically a few rules, right, that we play when it comes to your calendar and how we like to handle calls and how we like to treat the prospects on our actual calendar. The most important thing that we need to be doing is basically treating every single lead like it's delicate, right? Like it's its own, and it has its own experience, because it does, right? Every lead has its own experience when they're gonna talk to you. So if you treat this lead, Jimmy, over here with love and care, you follow up, you send the VSL, you pre-call them, and then you treat John and you get lazy and you don't do what you're supposed to do, right? And you don't treat that lead like it's its own, you kind of half-ass the sales call. That's where we lose out on a lot of fucking deals. So the first thing about your sales process, like before we jump into anything, is you have to make sure you're treating every single lead with the same amount of intent and care, right? And so focusing on these things that I'm about to go over are gonna be the highest leverage in terms of like what you do before the call, right? So when it comes to sales, there's pre-call activities, so what you do before the call, which is getting them to show up. There's on-call activities, how good you are actually at sales. And then there's post-call activities, so how good you are at following up, how good you are at nurturing your pipeline, and things like that. To be a good closer, you're not just good on call, you're good at all 3 parts of the call. And so in this video, we're covering those pre-call activities, what we do before the call to nurture the prospect enough to show up and be warm enough to trust you to buy on call, right? And so the first thing we do is a confirmation call. So like a rough overview of like why and what the confirmation call actually is this lead comes in from ads, from emails, from cold calls, whatever. Whenever the call actually gets scheduled on your calendar, they book, right? Right after that, we're gonna do a confirmation call. The most important and crucial thing, unless you're like cold calling, so if you're getting like calls from emails, ads on whether that's Facebook, Instagram, whatever, like right when you see the booking, you need to call them. So we've seen that our show rate literally doubled once we started doing this confirmation call within 5 minutes. If we wait 30, right, it drops. So within 5 minutes of when that call is booked, what we're gonna do is call the prospect. A few things we're gonna go over on this call specifically is 1, do they have any partners? 2, do they know it's a Zoom call? And 3, just build rapport. So we obviously ask if they have partners just to see like, am I gonna get the partner objection? Number 2, we ask, do you know if it's a Zoom call, can you join on your computer? Because a reason why some people don't join sales calls is because they literally just don't know it's a Zoom. So we just have to inform them that that's the case. The third thing we do, which is the most important, is literally just building rapport with them, asking them a few questions about their business, getting to understand them, getting to know them as a human being, and them getting to know you. Now, the important part of this is literally just like when somebody books a call with a business, they have no remorse, they don't care. I'm no showing a business owner, it doesn't matter. When they put a face to the business, right, and you talk to them, at that point, they're no showing a human. And at that point, it becomes more of a personal connection, a me to you type thing. It's very, very strong. And so the next thing we do like ties really, really closely in with that, and that's a lead nurture text. So basically confirm them on the call, right when they book that call, call, and then they pick up, we have that conversation. Even if they don't pick up, what we're gonna do is we're gonna send them texts. So the first text we like to send is something along the lines of this. Hey John, this is Cole. I see you booked in my calendar for X time, X day, just figured out to reach out personally. And then you ask a simple question. So let's say, for example, when it was our solar agency, the question we would ask is, are you a solar rep or are you a business owner, right? And the only reason for this text is literally just building rapport, getting to know the human, and just like building that personal one-to-one connection between closer and prospect. Very, very, very important. So like, let's say they pick up the phone, you guys have the conversation. Like I would send a text on the call and just be like, hey John, it's Cole, this is my cell, let me know if you need anything. If they don't answer the phone, I would send that other text, basically just being like, and asking them a question and basically just like building a connection with them. Now, other than that, after that first text goes through, whatever they say back, we're pretty much gonna say the same thing. Gotcha, just to give you a little bit more context, check this video out before our call, right? And then we'll send a VSL. So a VSL, if you guys don't know what that is, it's a virtual sales letter. I can make a whole nother video about that, and I will. But like, what you want to touch base on is just a quick 5-minute video. And what I want you guys to show in this video is basically social proof, right? Testimonials, and that you guys know what you're talking about. If you don't know what you're talking about and you're a very beginner, I wouldn't even suggest you have a VSL, just because you can't portray that you know what you're talking about, because you don't. But if you're established, you have clients, I want you guys to send a video over, going over case studies, answering frequently asked questions, and that'll work as a VSL for now until you're kind of at that 30, 50, 60K a month mark, when you need to like fine tune and kind of perfect your VSL. You can easily get to 30K a month without having like a perfect one. And so we'll send that VSL to them over text, and we'll also, on that pre-call or on that confirmation call we were talking about, we're just gonna push them to the VSL. So every lead that we talk to should watch this 3 to 5 minute video. Basically, the purpose of the video is, one, to pre-handle objections. So basically pre-handling objections like if they have a partner, it's a Zoom call, things like that. But more importantly, giving them testimonials to also pre-handle objections. So the testimonials would just pre-handle objections. I need to think about it. I don't trust you. I'm scared. Stuff like that, because they just subliminally know that you know what you're talking about. Next, what we do is we mark unresponsive leads as free space in the calendar. So if somebody's not responding to this confirmation call, what we do is we click on their Google Calendar, we click edit, and there's a spot where it says busy. We click on that Google Calendar invite, we click edit, there's a spot that says busy. We can click that and we set it to free. And so when we do that, right, we're leaving the spot as free, which basically means that it can just get booked by somebody else. So if a lead's not responding to you, right, if they seem like a poor lead, if they're not gonna show up, then there's no reason to have that slot blocked on your calendar. Like Alex Hormozy basically says that like the way sales teams are effective and the way closers are effective is if they literally just have the most availability as possible. Since that call most likely is not going to show, that call has a 5% chance of showing if they're not responding to your text, if they're not responding to your calls, if they're literally just ghosting you. It's better to leave that slot on open so we can get another book call there that like is actually going to show up. So like the ideal case scenario for a closer or a salesperson is to have 12 slots open on their calendar, 12 shown calls, and 12 qualified calls. The closest thing we're trying to do is do that. So even if we have a slot double booked, it's fine. And so the next thing is basically like tagged on to like the confirmation call and the lead nurture text, which is just going to be speed to lead and speed to reply. So when people are texting you, like this is money in your phone, like you better fucking reply. And then the same thing with speed to lead, like when appointments get booked, we need to text and call immediately. If we literally just text and call from our personal cell and do that immediately, like I swear, like that'll increase your show rate double if you're not already doing that. Next, same day, next day bookings only. So let's say we're sending emails or doing ads or cold calling, like we only want them to book this today. So like if we set the appointment in the morning, we only want them to book tonight or the day after. In some cases with clients, we've tested 3 days out. We usually take a hit in the show rate. And so the reason for this is, imagine if there was a call and you booked it and it was like Wednesday and you booked it for Monday. That's the whole weekend. That's 5 full days for you to basically forget that the call even like was booked. Right? And so like when it's same day, next day, it's top of mind. And the people that book same day, next day are just more likely to close because it's a bigger problem to them and they want to fix their problem like faster than those who don't. There's urgency. They want to get it done as fast as possible. If you're booking a call and you thought it was going to change your business, I'm sure you'd want to do it in a fucking hour. Like with this, there's like a few reasons why people don't show up to the sales call, right? 1, they didn't know what time it was, right? 2, they didn't know how to join. 3, it just wasn't a big enough, like it wasn't important enough for them to join, right? So we fixed 1 by texting them what time it was. We fixed 2 by covering that on the confirmation call. And 3, we fixed that on the confirmation call as well, and with the same day, next day bookings. Next, it's just gonna be text automations from Calendly, GHL, whatever you have. The thing with this is just make them look automated, right? Like there's a lot of people in the industry that are like trying to make their text automations look like a human being. Dude, everybody knows that it's not a fucking human. We can quit all that bullshit. Like everybody knows knows. We all know it's a robot. It gets sent immediately. So literally just make these text automations to literally just remind them when the call is happening. And then if your show rate's low and you're kind of doing all these things already, first off, odds are that you're just not, that you're not doing these things. Just go through everything else, right? Are you getting in touch with every lead prior to the meeting with a confirmation call and the lead nurture text? Do you have GHL automations in place purely as reminders? Do not change or make fancy. Are you properly managing your calendar, right? If someone's unresponsive, are you marking their time slot as free? Are you replying to them fast? Are you calling them fast? Is it same day, next day booking? Are you maximizing your calendar availability for those 4 hours? Odds are, if you're doing these things, your show rate's high. And if you're doing these things and your show rate's low, it's a lead quality problem. And so this is the lead nurture process that over text that I was talking about earlier, the one that we walk through, right? So first, this should be done from your personal cell. If you're out of the United States, get a US number and text on that. So double dial for the confirmation call within 5 minutes like we were talking about. And so send this right after the call if you actually connected with them on that confirmation call. Great speaking to you, John. If you need anything before our call, feel free to reach out, talk soon. And then morning of the meeting, hey, John, I'll see you at time. Here's a Zoom link, by the way, right? And then if they did not have a confirmation call, hey, name, this is name from company. I saw you're on my calendar for blank. Just wanted to reach out personally. Does that 100% work for you? Perfect. Check this video out before our call, blah, blah, blah. It'll answer your questions and send VSL. And then the prospect answers. If you need anything before, this is my personal line, so feel free to reach out if you need anything like the Zoom link. And then if no response to text 1, so this text up here, hey, name, this is name, right? And they're just unresponsive completely. Morning of, we would say, hey, name, my calendar is packed. I want to make the most out of our time. Please confirm you'll be at your meeting today. Otherwise, I'll have to cancel, right? First off, this just raises status frame. And if they get this, they're going to reply. And if they don't reply, they were never going to close anyway, because they're clearly just not interested. And so if they don't answer this, that's when I would go back to what we were talking about earlier and basically mark that unresponsive lead as free space in your calendar. So if you're literally just doing all this, your show rate should be 80% plus. We've seen it in all niches that we've worked with. So I hope this helped you guys out. If it did, go subscribe, drop a like, helps me out a bunch. I'll see you guys later.